Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Andy, and welcome to this week's Team Kentucky Update. We're going to start this week where we always start, focusing on Kentucky's growing economy and the good jobs that are coming for our people. Since the beginning of my administration, we've now announced over 1,200 private sector new location or expansion projects, totaling a record $43 billion in new investments and creating a record 63,200 new jobs. The state's historic economic momentum in recent years has been fueled by companies continuing to reinvest in the communities where they are established. Oftentimes, these companies are foreign owned. Kentucky is fifth in the country for foreign direct investment. These are companies that put a manufacturing facility or an office in Kentucky and employ Kentucky families. Because of that, we take economic development trips, as does every governor. We're over there hustling for jobs, trying to make sure that that next opportunity comes to the Commonwealth. We recently took a trip to England and France, which are our number 2 and 3 export markets. And it's important that we do those because one of the companies we were pitching looked at me and said the governor of Virginia was sitting in that same chair just a week before. But we're doing the work to be in the game. And on this last trip, some really exciting news happened. We got a full commitment that we could announce from one of the companies. So last week during our trip, I joined leaders from Kingspan Group PLC, that's the parent company of Tate, at the company's Ireland headquarters. While I was visiting, company officials confirmed plans to locate Tate's largest North American facility in Glasgow. The $61.2 million project represents the largest job creation announcement in Barron County in nearly 20 years and will create 400 new full-time manufacturing jobs once the facility is fully operational, and they intend to get operational quickly. We are thrilled that Tate decided to make Glasgow their new Kentucky home. I want to thank leaders at Tate and Kingspan for choosing to invest in the Commonwealth, and I look forward to seeing their future growth. Also last week, Rocky Atkins, my senior advisor, joined local officials and leadership at Alltech to break ground on the company's recently announced expansion in Jessamine County. The nearly $4.6 million investment is creating 6 new jobs, and the expansion is partially funded by a $2.34 million award from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Announced in July and located at the company's global headquarters in Nicholasville, the new facility will be Alltech's first U.S. manufacturing plant dedicated solely to producing biological fertilizer products. Alltech has been a leader in the agricultural industry for nearly 50 years and has been crucial to Kentucky's thriving economy. I want to congratulate them on this milestone, and I look forward to seeing them to continue to succeed and expand. Earlier this week, Rocky also joined local officials at Process Machinery, Inc. to break ground on the company's $11.5 million expansion in Shelbyville, which is going to create 30 good full-time jobs for Kentucky families. The company announced in April they plan to add over 28,000 square feet to the current operation to accommodate the tremendous growth and increased demand they've seen over the last 10 years. The project will take place over 3 phases with completion expected by the end of next year. The expansion will include site development, the construction of a new paint facility, expansion of existing manufacturing space, office space, and additional equipment. PMI has invested in the Shelbyville community for several years and has created quality jobs. I want to thank them for their years of commitment and hope this is not the last expansion. We also highlighted continued growth in Kentucky as Inked Brands, which has been located here for a decade, announced plans to relocate and expand in Bowling Green with a $10.7 million investment, creating 20 additional jobs. The company is an established leader in the stationery, office, crafting, and gift sales across several platforms, including e-commerce, mass retail, and boutique business to business. Anytime a local business expands in the Commonwealth, it is a testament to the quality of work they're doing, their leadership, their workforce, and support from local and city officials. Inked Brands has operated in Kentucky for a decade, and this announcement is an exciting step for the company and for Bowling Green. I want to congratulate them on this progress, and I look forward to their continued success. The next announcement's a pretty special one. We also announced an exciting new economic development project in Coal Run earlier this week at Weddington Plaza Partners. They plan to invest nearly $6 million to restore and renovate the Weddington Shopping Center, which sustained heavy damage following the flooding in Pike County earlier this year. I stood outside this facility. I talked to a woman who had spent decades investing in her beauty store, and it was entirely ravaged and destroyed. Knowing the number of people that work in these different areas and knowing that there are real challenges in whether it can qualify for FEMA or other funds. But we worked it and we worked it. And this investment will now be used to remove damaged property, replace flooring, roofing and electrical components, security expenses, and it's going to help rebuild the flood wall. To date, nearly $1 million has been used on initial repairs, cleaning, and renovations. Weddington Plaza Partners hopes to have about 50% of the shopping center restored and occupied within the next 12 months. And here's the most important piece of it. Getting the shopping center back open will retain about 300 Kentucky jobs in Coal Run that would have otherwise been lost. Those are really important jobs to this community. And this was a really creative approach and solution. So grateful to everybody in economic development and everyone else who worked on it. One defining characteristic about the people of this state is resilience. And every time an obstacle or challenge presents itself, we face it, we work together, and we build back stronger than we were before. I want to close today's economic development update by highlighting yet another strong national recognition for the Commonwealth's economic growth and future preparedness. Kentucky recently placed 8th in the country in Site Selection Magazine's 2025 Global Groundwork Index. That is an index based on capital investments and job announcements paired with how much a state is investing in infrastructure. The idea is not just what we're seeing now, but what a state will continue to see in the future. Are we making those investments to keep this growth going? This placement represents the 4th consecutive year that we have placed in the top 10 of the ranking. Site Selection noted Kentucky is among the top regional hotspots for potential investment. And earlier this year, Site Selection ranked Kentucky in the top 5 nationally for economic development per capita in the 2024 Governor's Cup rankings. They also ranked Kentucky number 6 in the country in the 2025 Prosperity Cup rankings, which recognize state-level economic development agencies for success in landing projects. Through hard work, we are seeing a lot of success. And as I close on this, let me just say that's not just from the state level. Economic development is a team sport. It is not a bipartisan exercise. It is a nonpartisan exercise. A good job in Democrat or Republican, it's just good for a family. And the cooperation right now between state, county, and local leaders and in businesses and in our people helping to recruit these companies is just outstanding. You know, we've got a country that economically right now is pessimistic. We're still optimistic in the Commonwealth. And I think that's because we recognize that next job opportunity is too important to get caught up in the politics of the day. I'm just really proud of the work of so many people across Kentucky. And I know that there are areas that are still waiting for their big announcement. We're going to work as hard as we can to get there. Glasgow waited 18 years, certainly 5.5 years of this administration. We were glad to deliver there, and we look forward to delivering in other parts of Kentucky. Moving on, we have some good news for our wildfire defense efforts. With the fall comes an increased risk of wildfires. We've recently seen what these wildfires can do to communities, and we want to be prepared. And while we love hiking and camping this time of year, we need everyone to be careful. We need to protect the nature and wildlife that makes Kentucky so special. That's why today we're announcing more than $922,000 from the USDA Forest Service. This funding, which comes from the Community Wildfire Defense Grant Program, is going to go to several areas throughout Kentucky to help guard against wildfires. These funds help communities plan for and reduce wildfire risk. Today, we have good news for 4 organizations that are with us. The first awardee, and y'all come on up, is for the Gateway Area Development District. They're receiving $200,000. The Gateway ad covers Bath, Menifee, Montgomery, Morgan, and Rowan counties. So today we have Executive Director Josh Farah and Chairman and Mount Sterling Mayor Al Botts. Congratulations.
Thank you, Governor.
You want to say a quick word?
Thank you, Governor.
You came all the way here.
Elected official will always say a quick word.
I figured.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Governor. I just want to say, on behalf of the Board of Directors for the Gateway Area Development District and the wonderful employees of that organization, we are so appreciative of the trust and the confidence that you've placed in us, not only with this award, but over the last several years. It's meant a lot, Governor. And I represent today a Gateway region that's full of a bunch of proud people, hardworking people, community-minded people who are looking forward to better tomorrows and trying to make their communities better every single day. So this award, Governor, will go a long way. Josh Farrell will make the most of it, and we'll make this award count to making our region a better place. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Josh, thank you for your work and the work of all the ads. We're doing more work with ads now than ever before, and good things are happening because of it. Next up, we have some good news for Knox County in the Southeast. They're receiving $250,000 from the program. Are we joined today by the Knox County Fiscal? Yeah, we are. Come on up and let us present you with $250,000. Do it over here. Great. Would you like to say a word? Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Congratulations to the fiscal court and to Judge Mitchell, which we enjoy working with you on everything we do. Next, we're going to the Northeast. Lewis County is receiving just over $237,000 to prevent wildfire. Today, we have Emergency Management Director Dennis Brown and the team from the Buffalo Trace ad. Come on up. Congratulations. There. All right. You hold on to the check. You want to say a word or two?
Thank you, Governor, and thank you for this opportunity. I'm honored to be here today on behalf of Judge Executive George Sparks and all of Lewis County. Our beautiful landscape provides views year-round, but the same rugged hills and dense forest also increase our wildfire risk. This grant will allow us to be proactive in taking steps for our residents, businesses, and natural resources by developing a strong community wildfire protection plan. We look forward to working with our local, state, and federal partners. I especially want to thank Buffalo Trace Area Development District for their assistance and guidance in preparing the grant application. Their continued support helps counties like ours turn important plans into real progress. On behalf of Judge Sparks and of the citizens of Lewis County, thank you again, Governor, for this recognition and for your continued investment in Kentucky's communities. We're excited to begin this project to build a safer and more resilient Lewis County.
All right.
Thank you, Governor.
You're very welcome. I think we have the very best local emergency management directors in the country. They've been called upon to do a lot. Sadly, we've had a lot of practice with natural disasters, but the professionalism is amazing. In fact, we've had a number of weather events since our last large natural disaster, and in every single one of them, they've been handled locally. Such a well-trained workforce from our fire districts to others, but appreciate your leadership and everyone else's. All right, and last from this program, we've got good news for Powell County. They're receiving $235,000 to protect their parks and forests. We have Powell County Judge Executive Eddie Barnes with us today to accept the check. Anybody? And Kevin Babb. Come on, Kevin. The money's still good.
Yeah, there you go.
And then over here. Oh. You want to say a word, Judge?
No,
Okay.
but I did want to give you something.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you to Judge Barnes and Kevin Babcock for being here with us. From 2021 to 2024, These areas alone experienced 357 wildfires that burned over 11,000 acres. Thanks to these local officials and these ads for stepping up. Make sure when you are camping, you fully extinguish that campfire. When you have a fire burning, be vigilant. We want people to get out and enjoy nature, but to treat it respectfully. So visit smokybear.com for fire prevention safety tips. Next up, an update on medical cannabis. Since taking office, my administration has been committed to providing access to health care and creating safe communities in Kentucky. One of our priorities is to ensure that Kentuckians suffering from PTSD and serious medical conditions like cancer or multiple sclerosis can have safe access to medical cannabis as soon as possible to get the relief they need. It has been 296 days since the patient application system launched. In that time, more than 21,000 electronic certifications have been issued to eligible patients. And now, over 15,000 Kentuckians have been approved as cardholders. Another part of getting the program up and running is ensuring that you have the healthcare workers that are registered to certify eligible patients. As of today, I'm happy to share that 500 practitioners are now certified. And that number is set to grow as more healthcare providers complete training. We're seeing strong engagement from our medical community, which shows confidence in this program. We're also making progress when it comes to the supply chain. So there are 4 categories that we've approved licenses for. Cultivators, these are the folks that grow it. Processors, the folks that take the raw material and process it. Safety compliance facilities, the folks who test for safety. And dispensaries, those are the folks that sell to eligible Kentuckians. By next week, Kentucky will have approved licenses in each and every category, which is great news. The first processor, Bison Infused, is scheduled for an inspection on October 29th. This will complete the program's full process cycle from cultivation to dispensary. And let me tell you, the processors are very sophisticated. It's a lot of machinery. It's a lot of science. And so a lot goes into getting these facilities up and running. Approved cultivators like Going Blue, Armory, and Natural State are preparing their first harvest. And safety compliance facilities, including KCA labs and aquatic labs, are ready to test as soon as product becomes available. The first dispensary in Ohio County, Treesoft, doing business as the Post, has been approved to open. While additional licensees are preparing for inspections, the Office of Medical Cannabis is processing license renewals with 71 of 81 business licenses already reviewed. Each day, we're getting closer to delivering on the promise of safe medical cannabis for Kentuckians in need. Moving on to some good news for families impacted by flooding, especially the flooding in 2022. We've been hit hard as a state, especially in Eastern Kentucky by flood after flood after flood, a significant one in 2021. Worst flooding, at least of our lifetime, in 2022. More flooding that's occurred in the years since, including 2 very difficult floods this year. But we're committed, not just to building back, but to building back smarter and adapting to keep our people safe. In some communities, that looks like our High Ground initiative in Eastern Kentucky. It's building homes outside of the floodplain. But for folks to be able to move, for folks to be able to afford these new homes, they need to be able to sell their current home. And that could be tough because those homes are in the floodplain and have flooded. No Kentuckian should have to stay in a flood-prone area just because it's too expensive to move or they can't find a buyer. So we've been working to make sure people are safe and that they can afford that new Kentucky home. That's why last week we announced that Team Kentucky had secured over $118 million to buy out Kentuckians living in the floodplain across 6 counties. The 6 counties are Floyd, Knott, Letcher, McLean, Perry, and Pike. Important to note, this is a voluntary program. No one is forcibly bought out. No one's ever forced to move. But what we've seen is the level of this flooding is too scary for folks to want to continue to live in that place, even if they've been tied to that land. With our high ground sites, we're looking at an opportunity for people to live in a place that's never going to flood, that they never have to worry when it rains, that they can be a part of a brand new community with the newest water, sewer, broadband, and other utilities. We are moving people out of danger to safety, and we're working to address affordable housing in Eastern Kentucky all at the same time. I think it's the most ambitious rebuild in the history of the United States. This $118 million is going to give a lot of people the opportunity to move to these high ground sites. And right now, we estimate 600 households are going to benefit from this $118 million. For a funding breakdown, $106 million comes from the federal government. Only $11 million are in state funds. That's a pretty good return. And I was proud to recommend to the General Assembly and grateful they agreed to put those state dollars in our budget. Typically, they can come from a county, a city, or a state. Kentucky's local match participation program covers that non-federal funding. It unlocks tens of millions of dollars. And the way we did it took the burden off our counties and works within our budget. Again, grateful the General Assembly went along with this. For those in the East, I'd encourage flood survivors to visit housingcan'twait.org, fill out an interest form, and a representative from FAHI will be in touch about the high ground communities and whether you qualify. FAHI has been a great partner, and they're not putting the work on those that have been flooded. They're taking on that work. After you fill out that form, they'll call you and they will walk you through it. They're doing a really good job. As a reminder, those 8 high ground communities are across 5 counties. They're going to have homes to own. Many of them are going to have rentals. We are really excited about what these brand new Kentucky communities are going to look like. We'll have more good news from the local match program soon. All right, today is an extra special Team Kentucky because our First Lady, Brittany Beshear, is here. Winnie is here with her. Brittany has long been an advocate in the fight against domestic violence, and recently we've seen at least 2 Kentuckians that we've lost in very high-profile incidents. Brittany's been leading important initiatives to protect our people from these heinous crimes while also supporting survivors. Today, Brittany is here to recognize Domestic Awareness Violence Month in Kentucky. Today, Brittany is here to recognize Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Kentucky.
It is. Good afternoon. Yesterday, I was proud to join representatives from Zero V to recognize October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. As First Lady and as a mom, my number one goal is to make our Commonwealth safe for all of our families. Sadly, more than 45% of women and 35% of men in Kentucky experience physical violence or sexual assault in their lifetimes. It takes a tremendous amount of bravery and support for survivors so that they can rebuild their lives and their dreams and their families. I'm grateful that together Kentuckians are here to help. On Team Kentucky, we've been working to support survivors and tackle the root causes of violence. That's why each year I am proud to partner with Zero V for the Shop and Share donation drive. This annual event provides food and essentials to domestic violence survivors and their families. Since the event was started in 2008 under another First Lady Beshear, more than $5 million in goods and donations have been donated to help the lives of thousands of survivors. The next event is coming up February 2026. I hope everybody at Kroger that day will help us in participating. I'm so proud of Kentuckians for continuing to step up and help. Please remember to do that this next February. It's always the Saturday before the Super Bowl, so you should be at the grocery store anyway. Andy has awarded more than $149 million in funding to provide survivor services throughout Kentucky, including through the Violence Against Women Act. He signed legislation that requires the Commonwealth to produce an annual report on domestic violence-related data. And he worked with other members of state government to establish the Safe at Home program. This is a program that protects the home addresses of survivors of domestic violence so that they can feel safe and secure. This is progress we will build on because Every single Kentuckian deserves to feel safe and to be safe in their own home. At a time where things can feel too divisive, this work is something everyone can agree on. Andy and I are committed to doing our part to lead with love and to end domestic violence in our communities. I want to thank Zero V and everyone who works at our regional domestic violence shelters. You help survivors who are going through some of the most difficult moments of their lives, and it makes a positive impact on them, their children, and their families. If you know someone who needs help, or you are someone who needs help, I encourage you to reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline on the screen. To the survivors out there who may be listening, there is help. We are here. Your brave and your courage will get you and your family to better days. We are here to support you. Thank you. I'll turn it back over to Andy.
Well, thank you to our First Lady. And I remember 2008, that very first shop and share, and getting to be involved in something from the very beginning and even to today. I even remember that transportation to take the goods fell through for Louisville. And one of my friends who's no longer with us called his brother who owned a construction company. We got all of their trucks, loaded up everything from all those Kroger and drove it here to Frankfurt. So pretty special program that helps pretty special people. So please be generous before the Super Bowl. Do your part to help folks. All right. Now an update that I wish we didn't have to give because it's one of my favorite things to do each year. But due to construction around the Capitol and the governor's mansion and safety concerns, we're going to be unable to do Halloween trick-or-treating at the mansion this year. The construction comes right up to it. The only place for kids to walk are on the road. And while we love the thousands of kids that come through for trick-or-treating, I want them to be safe more than anything else. And it's just simply not safe to do right now. Brittany and I are sad about this, but I'm going to visit a couple of local schools, and hopefully we can find a solution and a space next year where we can come together again and every child can have a good time and also feel safe. It was fitting that the last Halloween before the Capitol got shut down was one where we had a big thunderstorm. And so we moved trick-or-treating from people coming up to the mansion over to the Capitol. We had all of our cabinets that had different tables, and people could bring small kids during what was otherwise a dangerous time, and they just had a great time. I was Ted Lasso last year. We'll have to see what happens this year. Next, I'd like to invite Kirsten Carroll, Kentucky Help Statewide Call Center Screening and Referral Specialist, and Tom, President and CEO of Operation Unite, for our next announcement. Come on up. Recently, a Kentuckian called our statewide addiction call center. That's 833-8KY-HELP. They were looking for addiction treatment. That's a really courageous call for a person to make. And luckily for this Kentuckian, Kirsten Carroll was on the other line. Not only did Kirsten answer the call, but she stayed on the call for 9 hours, promising the caller that she wouldn't give up until she found an available treatment facility and he was safe. In an email from that Kentuckian to Kirsten's supervisor, he wrote, "I have never encountered anyone during this journey that's impacted my life the way that Kirsten has. I have no closing words that satisfy me in expressing my thankfulness for her dedication, kindness, and genuineness. Because of you, Kirsten, one more Kentuckian is on the path to building a better, healthier life. Your compassion and determination reminds all of us what real support looks like on the road to recovery. And that's why we're naming you this week's Team Kentucky All-Star. Congratulations."
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You don't have to.
No, I'm okay.
Okay. Well, thank you for all of your work. The Kentucky Help Call Center is such a vital resource in Kentucky's fight against addiction. It connects Kentuckians immediately with available treatment options, and it helps them on a path of hope and healing. Last year, we saw the third straight year of decreases in overdose deaths in Kentucky. Thank God, and it was significant. An over 30% drop from the last year. This call center, Kirsten and her colleagues, Operation Unite, all played a big role. And you know what? To get here, they had to believe. There were a lot of years where they didn't see things getting better. They saw them getting worse, but they believed that the treatment options that were out there, they believed that the actions of law enforcement, they believed in the line and how it can connect people, that if they kept working day in and day out, that we'd gain inches that would become feet, that would become miles of progress. And it's such a testament to their work going up against one of the most challenging, difficult, deadly opponents we've ever faced, that we've had those 3 straight years of wins. Just last month, the Kentucky State Police arrested over 400 individuals for drug-related offenses, which is nearly 200 more than the agency arrested last September. Also in September, I certified 6 new counties as recovery-ready communities, which means we're up to 31 that cover 1.7 million Kentuckians. If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, know that there's help available. Know that there's somebody like Kirsten who will stay on that line until you get the help that you need. Just please don't wait to reach out. The most courageous thing you can do is make that call. We won't judge you. We'll just love you. We'll make sure that you can get that help you need. And as long as you're trying, we'll be rooting for you, whether it's the 1st, 2nd, 10th, or 11th time. Please call the KY Help Call Center at 833-8KY-HELP or visit findhelpnowky.org. You're not alone. We're here to help. Just pick up the phone and make that call. Thank you, Kirsten and Tom, and keep up your good work. Now, for some of the best news of the day, we have one journalist total signed up this week, and he is virtual. He is the dean of the Team Kentucky Update. We haven't had him some of the last couple. We got Tom Latek on the line.
Good afternoon, Governor. Thank you for that introduction. I was wondering.
Tom.
I was trying, believe me. I was wondering, the Attorney General and some lawmakers are seeking to have you issue a death warrant for Ralph Bays. Are you planning on doing that? Or is there something else that needs to happen before you would sign that document?
Ralph Bays committed a horrible crime. And because of that, there's a family that is still hurting. Right now, there is an injunction from the Franklin Circuit Court on all capital punishment in Kentucky. And what the Attorney General and the Senator point to is a part of the most recent order where they think it means that I can go ahead and sign one of those warrants. But there is another part of the order that says before I can sign any of the warrants, we have to have another regulation go through the process. We very promptly wrote that, and it's going through the process right now. So I believe, being a member of the bar, that I've got to follow those orders, and that part of the order prevents me from signing it at this time. Now, I also hope, because the criminal justice process can be really difficult on families, can be traumatic, and sometimes can raise hopes for what a family wants when there are still hurdles. Right now, Kentucky does not have the necessary drugs that would be required to carry out any execution if one went forward. And the companies are saying that they won't provide it. Now, the Attorney General's offered to help on that. We haven't seen other states be able to secure, at least from what I've seen, what's required under Kentucky's regulations. So I just want to make sure that even as we're talking about this one piece, that we're being transparent about the other. Okay, that is this week's Team Kentucky Update. I think we will see you next week. For all the kids in Frankfort, we're sorry about Halloween this year, but go out, be safe, have fun, make sure you're doing it in a place that's safe. And to all the officials that have joined us today, thank you for all your excellent work. See you next time.